In this video, we're going to dial it down this week. We're not going to talk about the cash printing machine and all that stuff. Look, we are in the perfect storm of having a lot of stuff go bad. We're going to talk about it today. Try to bring us a little half cup full. I hope you stick around. Hey, welcome back, everyone. It is time for another red hot covered call video. Well, hey, look, I only say that because it brings a little normalcy to what we're doing here. There is a lot of bad news out there, a lot of scary news. And I'll tell you what, from the jump, I've always told you I'm just like you. I have a family. I have a job, thank God. And at the end of the day, there's so many things out there that are so negative. Man, it is easy to absolutely have your emotions destroyed during this time. Now, outside of just physically being healthy, we need to be mentally healthy as well. Now, what I hope to do in this video is not necessarily enlighten you on something that you can do to save our portfolios from the crash that has happened. Rather, instead, I do want to share with you some ideas, things that I'm doing, things that I've done, but we're going to tone it down a little bit, okay? Because I know a lot of people are hurting, a lot of people are worried. Well, believe it or not, over the years, this small little channel, my little YouTube channel for which I come here, I tell you some stories, I share with you some experiences. Over the years, you've built a trust with the channel and all that watch. It really blows my mind that we have a like-minded community here. I see it all the time. Somebody will post up a comment, and before I can answer, somebody will already come in and give them the information they're looking for. And that's what I love about this channel. We are a like-minded community. And I'll tell you what, in times like this, when you send me your emails, you send me your comments, look, I have no crystal ball, and of course, I can't give any recommendations, predictions, you know all that. But at the end of the day, I do love to share my stories, share my experiences, so you can get a little bit from it. And that's the key here, because like I've told some people recently, nobody is going to press the buy and sell button for you right now. In fact, the markets are down some 30% from the highs. And a lot of people right now have never experienced that. So they're doing things right now that are not typical. They're not reasonable. I like to put it in two categories right here, right now. And whether you agree with me or not, that's to be seen. What we want to do, we want to have a plan. We want to execute the plan. We want to be cup half full. Now, I know that's sort of warm and fuzzy and we really can't get our hands around any of that, but it really does begin right there. And the reason it really begins right there is because we're very emotional right now. A lot of people are down some 50% on their portfolios. They found themselves in a spot where they're over-diversified and those stocks have tanked. They don't know what to do. They're feeling uncertain. And then on top of that, you have all the global fears of the virus and what's happening. I'll tell you, it can be emotionally wrecking. Now, with that said, we have to make good decisions based on the information we have. And with Wall Street having such uncertainty, and we're going to go through some of that, but this is the perfect storm. Whether it's a perfect storm in a healthcare crisis, a perfect storm in an economy crisis, a perfect storm in a stock market crisis, it's all here right now. And that's really what worries me the most. Outside of catching the virus and dying, I'm worried that this is such a perfect storm that this is not going to last 3 months. Now, I'm not here to bring gloom and doom, man. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see I want to be proactive. I want to talk about all the proactive things we can do with our mind, our health, our portfolios. Being proactive helps us get through these times. I will tell you now because the negativity will drag us down to where we can't function, okay? So it's important to try to be cup half full. Now look, this is how I approach my life. This is how I approach my trading. So let's go ahead and get to this because I don't want to ramble on. I don't want to take up any of your precious time with your family. I get it. But what we need to be is cup half full, even in the most dire straits, because that's what's going to get us there, right? Because I will tell you that being brought down by anxiety and depression will destroy your life just as anything else will. So let's go ahead and get to this. If you like what you're hearing today, you want to be a part of it. Hey, maybe you don't like this video, but you can see I've done many videos when the times weren't as dire. What we do is try to be positive. I love to motivate and inspire to get you involved to take your financial future in your own hands. More importantly, I want you to learn the strategy that has changed my financial life. Yeah, the markets are down 30%. And yeah, I have a buy and hold portfolio that's getting destroyed. But my selling premium portfolio, that's much different. And we're going to talk about one trade today that I made that might interest you, might give you a little peek into John's world. Look, what I want you to do, if you like what you're hearing today, I want you to subscribe to the channel. It's right there and it's free. And hey, look, if you like this video, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. By the way, I check my video status all the time. Pretty much every time I come home from work, I love to go up to my YouTube channel and see how many people have watched the video. It excites me when you bang the like button because I know what we're doing here, what we're trying to achieve here is positive, and a lot of you like it. And that's important because that motivates me. That motivates me to keep doing this, and we will keep doing it. I just ask you for a couple things, man. If you could bang the like button and subscribe, that's super cool. One of the things I did for my upgraded CTB dashboard members is I showed the chart of Verizon. And let me bring up a chart of Verizon because I want to show you this. Now, this is a chart of Verizon. Do you notice up here? The Dow is down some 30% from its highs. And most every stock is, right? And in fact, some are killed, like Chevron. Man, Chevron was trading for 113. It hit a low in the mid 50s. So it's down some 60%. Look at Verizon for a moment. If I were to look at this chart in any other situation, this actually doesn't look that bad. If I'd have told you this chart was in the middle of a stock market crash, you'd probably be scratching your head. Well, this is the marker right here. February 24th is when the markets crashed that morning that the Dow was down 1,000 points. That started it all. And then we get the days of up 1,000, down 1,000, and all of a sudden, man, hell is breaking loose. Look at Verizon and the way it's working. This is amazing. First of all, notice that Verizon is literally trading at $58 a share, okay? It got to as low as 51. The markets are tanking, and Verizon's moving between 58 and 51. So what does that tell you? First of all, Verizon's a great company, huge dividend. But the way you reverse engineer the thinking here is this. People in crisis are going to do a couple things. They're going to buy their food. They're going to buy their toilet paper, right? They're going to hunker in and they're going to buy the Netflix, right? They're going to make sure they have their cable. They're going to make sure they have the internet. But here's what I noticed. All those people out there getting food and toilet paper, they've got food in one hand, toilet paper in the other, and they're holding their smartphone. The one thing we are going to learn from this is the smartphone, the iPhone, right? The Google phone, people will not live without. They will live in fear and change their life forever, but they will have that phone in their hand. Now, I don't know if that's why Verizon has held up better than the entire stock market, but how amazing is it to find these stocks that have weathered this storm and why they have weathered the storm? Just looking at this, it blows my mind because at the low of the low, the first time the Dow was down some 12%, Verizon hit 51. When it rallied, right? When the market started to rally, little crumbs here, little crumbs there, didn't really rally. We haven't done that huge dead cat bounce yet. Verizon found itself back at 55. Think about that for a second. It spikes back to 55, only being down some 6% in this market crash. So thinking about this like I do now, try to reverse engineer the thinking. Okay. Obviously, this is a big topic, but who's going to survive? So if we're going to get to the other side, who's surviving, right? Because I don't know about you, but you look at Costco. Costco has a line out the door during this economic crash. We see here that Verizon stock is pretty stable. How about some of the pharmaceuticals, right? During times of this, I'm seeing stocks like Eli Lilly, although they've sold off a bit recently, they've held their water pretty good. Then we think about all the loosely traded tech stocks and all the non-essential other companies like Beyond Meat and Roku and Beyond Meat. You know, a lot of those stocks just sell off. Right now, a lot of it really has to do with the fact that they've all had gains. They've had gains allow Wall Street to sell them off. They're taking all their gains off the board. When we start cutting deep, right, we start to get to the bone. That's when this is seriously going to get bad. You know, you look at one of those great staple companies like Procter & Gamble, and when I say cut to the bone, I mean we're losing money that we had invested just 1 year ago. This is a 1 year chart of Procter & Gamble. And if you look at this, right now, if you put all your money into Procter & Gamble 1 year ago, you've essentially to where we would have been 1 year year ago. So these are things we can take hope in. So, okay, we get it, right? If you bought bad stocks, you're in trouble. If you bought good stocks, you're not in that much trouble. And hell, if you got lucky, you bought a company for which every person on the planet is carrying your product, you're doing really good. Well, that's all water under the bridge now, because we are now 30% down in this stock market correction. I believe we could fall to 15,000 on the Dow. I mean, we have such uncertainty, and unfortunately the news is just bombarding us with all this negative news. Like I said, on my Facebook page, I am encouraging everybody to be proactive and trying to be real, to be honest with you. I mean, if we're going to get this, let's talk about the proactive things we can do to stay healthy. And hey, once I get it, let's talk about how that works, right? And are you taking vitamins and things like that, right? This is not just a stock market issue. This is about being healthy, being emotional healthy, and just making good decisions. And making good decisions in life and in the markets. Okay, so we're talking Win. Now, talk about reverse engineering the thought here. When I bought Win at 97, man, I should have stopped myself and said, look, Macau had already closed for 2 weeks. Yeah, they were going to reopen, but Las Vegas Sands came out and said, look, man, even if we open, nobody's coming to the casinos. I should have had the clairvoyance to see that Las Vegas was going to shut down. And obviously, these things were going to tank. Well, when Win fell to 97 right here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe this thing has sold off just enough. We're going to get that little bit of sideways move and maybe move back to 120. Maybe the worst is out on all these casino stocks. Well, obviously, I was wrong. And, oh, by the way, we're using blue here. We're doing a little Bob Ross here. We are going to be positive, right? Little bad chart here, little bad chart. We're going to clean this up. We're not going to use a red marker. My kids say I need to incorporate a little more Bob Ross in our life. And maybe in these times we should. Google Bob Ross. Watch one of his videos. So when Win fell, obviously I'm in at 97X, right? And I really wanted this to go higher. And then I'd write a nice little covered call. I'd have my shares taken away. We make about 1,700, sort of like I did with Home Depot and one of my Advi trades. Well, that didn't happen. And Win fell like an absolute rock. This thing fell all the way down into the 40s. And to be honest, I'm just sitting here not knowing what to do, man. This is now such a long-term hold. Where is this going to be? Where is the bottom going to be? Because Vegas is a ghost town. There is no certainty with the news. Vegas and Las Vegas Sands and MGM, right? These stocks are going to be suppressed just on the uncertainty of the situation. So what I did was this, and this is where you may find this absolutely absurd, but here's the deal. I'm going to take some losses this year. If this market does not rebound, I'm going to take some losses this year because I'm not going to pay the tax man if I've got a portfolio full of losses. Well, Win is going to be that for me. I'm going to actually take a loss on Win. But before we do, we're going to play the game. I got to have a little sanity right now in the stock market. So I'm going to play Win as a pure trade and play. We are going to play this because if I have my shares taken away, I am letting this go. I will take the loss. But I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it as my little playground. And what we're going to do is we're going to write covered calls on good days, buy the options back on bad days, and we're going to do it again. Bringing a little sanity to my life when we're talking the stock market. So when Win was up some $12 yesterday, it doesn't end up being $12 here, but it was at one point. I'm thinking, okay, this is a great opportunity to try writing a covered call and seeing what I could get. And when Win was up about $9 on this day today, and I still don't know why they were up, I was able to write a 60 out of the money and get $8.50 for it. Now, again, yes, my stock purchase price is 97. I'm writing a 60 strike with an $8.50 premium paid. So guess what? If my shares are taken away, I'm only making $68.50 on this trade. And that's an L. Again, understand what I'm doing. I am going to take a loss on Win this year. Unless a miracle happens, I don't think Win gets back 97 anytime soon. So I'm using this opportunity to write some covered calls on Win. We'll see how it goes. But why am I showing you this? A lot of you email me talking about how do we write covered calls with stocks for which we are well underwater. Let me go ahead and clear the field here and talk about this. So right now the stock market has tanked off so hard, so heavy, we're getting these violent moves in the stock. Nothing is predictable. And in fact, the bid-ask spreads on a lot of these options contracts are so big, man, you're just not getting those tight premiums. What I will tell you is this, and I've noticed this. When you write a covered call right now, you want to do a limit order, and you want to make sure you at least put your order at the ask. When I did this covered call, the bid was $650, the ask was $850. And usually they'll tell you to do it at the mid so you get your price. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but when you do a limit order, you try to dance between the bid and the mid so you get a little bit more for your money. These days, I don't do that. I put in my limit order for above the ask, because a lot of these orders are stale. They're stale. So what you find is if you put in a $9 ask, as soon as you refresh the screen, these numbers change completely. And you'll find that your ask might be the mid now. Usually it's not, it becomes the ask. That's all right. Now you've tested the water, right? You're not giving away your shares for $650. That's damn near a $3 difference, right? So what I do is I'll put in that bid for $9, and when it doesn't take, I refresh it and I bring it down to $875. And then when it doesn't take, I bring it down to $850. So what I'm trying to do is maximize my covered call premium while still writing a covered call. I'm not going to give it away for $650. Now, if you do a market order, your brokerage is going to give it to the bid. So if this is a stale order right here, you're probably not going to sell this covered call at $650, but you don't know what it is. That's why I always tell you when we buy back our options, we try to sell it under the bid. See the orders tighten up in real time. And in the case of this covered call on Win, sure enough, the bid, mid, and ask were 6, 7, and 8. So when I placed this limit order for this covered call, I put it above the ask, and when I did that, it took it at $850. That's where I put it. I put it at $850, and they snapped it up. They took that order with bids of 6, the mid at 7, and as soon as I placed it at above the ask, they took it at $850. Think about that for a second. This is how crazy these option prices are. So I want that to be the little nugget of today's video you take away with you. I want you to place limit orders where possible. I want you to always place it a little bit above the ask and then back it down. You will see those old stale limit orders start to go away. You start to see the option premiums change. Your bid, mid, and ask are going to change. And of course, you do that with a cash secure put as well. You want to get the most amount of money for your premiums when you do this. Now, if you buy back an option, say for example, Win does exactly what I think and it sells off some 5 points on Monday, I'm going to buy this option back for considerably less than the $850 I was paid. And when I do that, I'm going to go in and buy to close, and I'm going to place this over here. I'm going to place it below the bid. And I might do it considerably now. In this case, instead of 6, I'm going to put 4. And what's going to happen is you're going to immediately see those bid-ask spreads start to shore up. You're going to get rid of the stale bids, and you're going to see where you're at. And then I'm going to start to inch it higher by 10-cent increment. And then I hope it'll take, ensuring that I buy it back for the least amount of money. And in the case of selling any options, it'll ensure that I get the most amount of money for my option. Now I'm going to leave it there for now. What I want you to do is leave me a comment in below right now. Tell me if you want to hear more videos. Because right now, I don't want to be that guy that when you see a new video pop up, man, you avoid, right? I don't want to become more noise in your life. Post in the comments below, yes or no. Tell me if you want me to bring you more red hot covered call video. Hey, look, like I always tell you, try to be a half cup full person. Now look, I don't know where we go from here. I did tell you earlier in this video, I think the Dow could test 15,000. But look, with this being so uncertain, you just never know. What I will say is this. There's some positive numbers coming out from the countries that had this in the beginning. So if you're like me, I believe this too will pass. The question is, how do we get there, right? That path to success is very uncertain right now. I'm going to tell you to hang on. I'm going to tell you to be safe, be healthy. But more importantly, find your trusted friend that you could talk to during these times, whether it's talking about health, family, finances. Talk about it. Because the one thing I learned from the oil crash is that when I talked to Jerry, it eased it for a moment. And I'll tell you what, man, that helped me get through that time. Look, I'm going to leave it there. Go to my website, ctpdashboard.com. Sign up for the free newsletter that I'm probably going to be sending out tomorrow. And hey, look, until next time, may you be safe, healthy, and half cup full. Trust me, I'm pulling for you.